Make sure, guys, you are smashing the likes, help the channel to grow. Make sure you sub to the channel if you enjoy the content, and make sure you share the channel as well. Guys, as you can tell from my disappointment, man. I mean, I think I am disappointed. I think watching that game, it's annoying. I mean, we're gonna get into Benjamin Sesko's goal in a little bit, but I'm frustrated, man, because on a 4-game winning streak, I did say before the game, I said I could see United, winning this game 2-1. Wasn't going to be easy. You look at West Ham in the form they're in, and obviously it was always going to be tough going away to them. Yeah, big up to Lewis, man. As I said, I'm just frustrated, guys, because it would have been a game, man, where you definitely would have, a few weeks back, you would have been saying, we'll definitely might struggle against West Ham, but the form that we've been in, yeah, man, I definitely did think we would have gone there and got the 3 points. Big up to Foxy Danny as well. And it's just frustrating, man, because that first half, I thought we could have done a lot better in that first half. The biggest problem that I see in that first half, there was no sort of pivot in the final third. There was no one really to hold the ball, pin the defenders back, and bring others into play. And again, when you see the fact that West Ham set up in the low block, and we do tend to struggle against low blocks. Yeah, it's just frustrating, man, because I did definitely think that we would have won that game. And obviously Carrick's winning streak is now over. Big up to Babs One Diva. Big up to Stretford M podcast as well. And yeah, man, I don't know what to say. I'm lost for words, but I'm happy in one sense because I mean Benjamin Sesko, take a bow, man. What a finish! What a finish! Yeah, what a goal, man. Big up to Fitz each and every time as well. Yeah, Benjamin Sesko, man, what a goal. What a deft touch, and I think this is a player, that he's been often, I would say, by the fan base at times criticised, and you could see in the last few games, man, Benjamin Sesko is starting to show his quality, I actually thought when he came on, he was pretty poor. He wasn't getting up to the tempo of the game. But there's nothing taken away from that finish, man. That finish was just world class. World class finish that was. And obviously, yeah, rescues United a point, man. But as I say, I'm just frustrated because I just thought that we could have gave a better of account of ourselves in that first half, man. I was saying that first half, I want to see what Carrick does because these are the kind of decisions, yeah, that for me, a top manager makes, especially in that first half. You look at the fact that we couldn't really get any footing in the first half. We couldn't really create nothing. West Ham defended well, sitting deep. And this is what I'm saying. I think there's a few concerns with Carrick, man. And I think one of the concerns I'm going to say with Carrick now, yeah, and again, Michael Carrick's done a great job since he's come in. 4 wins in a row. But he's going to have a tough decision in terms of what does he see going forwards as his main team, because I'm sorry to say, yeah, I know he got the assist, yeah, but Brian Mbeumo playing through the middle just doesn't work. And for me, the fact that Sesko got the finish, does Sesko start the next game? Zirkzee again come on too late, in my opinion. Does he go with a more proven player in that area, or does he keep with Brian Mbeumo? So for me, Brian Mbeumo, if he doesn't get goals, he's null and void really in terms of build up. That's not what he's about. He's about getting on the end of things and getting goals. And the amount of times he was dropping so deep, in the first half, he wasn't linking anything really. That isn't his game. And his game was more about trying to get in behind, and as you can see, like, with West Ham, they've got pace in Disassi now in the centre-back area, and they were playing with the low block as well, which meant that there was no space really for anyone to operate. You know, I thought in terms of the attack were pretty poor. You know, I'm looking at Matthias Cunha as well, and I'll be honest with you, yeah, Cunha's not a poor player, yeah, but it's showing me a lot, yeah, what Cunha needs if he's to thrive at Manchester United. And for me, yeah, I think this is why I keep saying, yeah, as long as let's say Bruno Fernandes is in the team, don't expect Sesko to thrive because you know there's too many players in the same sort of area, you know, and the fact that that Cunha comes off and Embuemo stays on, that is purely because you know Embuemo's probably more likely to get you a goal. But again, if we're gonna build anything going forwards, you know, for me it has to be a case of how are we gonna figure putting in all these players into a starting lineup consistently. Because I think the way that Carrick is actually doing it, you're not getting the best out of Embuemo because I know he gets goals, but you know he's too often out of the game, and again he can't link the play. And then you look at the fact that Embuemo was bad, but he stays on the pitch and Cunha comes off. And you can see from Cunha's face, yeah, Cunha is not happy, you know, but because obviously Carrick's won 4 out of 4, you know, he's got to kind of like just take it really. But he'd be looking at that thinking, how was Embuemo stay on that pitch and he's coming off? You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it's just a frustrating result. I mean, the goal was comical. You know, Luke Shaw played very well last game against Tottenham. You know, I know it's against 10 men and that, but you're up against Jarrod Bowen, and guys, Jarrod Bowen is a top player. You know, Jarrod Bowen is a very good player. You know, very underrated. You know, and as I said to you guys before, you know, people talk about Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka's not better than Jarrod Bowen for me. You know, I'd argue that of anyone. And I look at Jarrod Bowen and he's what's the name? He's him up against Luke Shaw, yeah? And you look at both players, they're both quite similar in physique, you know. And the fact that Luke Shaw let that ball bounce and then Jarrod Bowen obviously won the header, and then the goal comes from there where, you know, the first mistake was made. I think you see Nicky Butt talking about it before. The first mistake was made by Luke Shaw by not going to engage the ball earlier and letting it bounce, and then Jarrod Bowen getting his body there and then winning the header. And then it got compounded where they then rush out to the side to stop the cross. Jarrod Bowen, great ball into the box. And I think Embuemo might have been defending it. And then a great run and finish from Thomas Souček. And again, man, it's just a stupid goal to concede. But the one thing I would say, yeah, is that this team under Carrick, you know, they've got a newfound belief, you can tell. Because even though we went behind, I always said to myself, you know what, we're going to come back and at least draw the game, you know. And as I said, what a finish it was from Benjamin Sesko. I think in terms of the goal that Kobbie created for Casemiro, that was unlucky. You know, Casemiro, I mean, I don't think there's a many better players in this league in the air than Casemiro. I mean, the amount of times that guy gets his head on the ball, you know, needs to be studied because it's ridiculous. His timing, you know, his want to win the header as well. And it was unlucky, man, just like a little touch offside. But these things happen, unfortunately, man. But yeah, it's just frustrating because I don't know, man. I think we could have done a lot better in that game. You know, I definitely think Carrick should have made the sub at half time, in my opinion. You know, and again, I know Embuemo got the assist for the Sesko goal, but he should have been off a long time ago for me. You know, a long time ago. You know, I think Sesko I said Joshua Zirkzee. I said Zirkzee should have come on at half time purely because Zirkzee could have pinned Disasi and Mavropanos back, and then you know a lot of the attackers could have got more into the game. And as I said, man, I was disappointed in Carrick because Carrick's done a very good job so far, man. But he should have shown his credentials to be a top coach for me by making a change at half time. I think the fact that he let the team come out and still play in the same kind of fashion, and then we go a goal behind, and then he makes the changes. You know, if I'm gonna criticize Ruben Amorim, you know, I have to be fair and just keep the criticism all around. You know, and as I said, this ain't nothing to get onto to Michael Carrick, because Carrick's been very good, but there's a couple of concerns. You know, there's a concern with Mbeumo, you know, lasting as long as he did. We was told Bruno Fernandes, as I said, the best number 10 in Europe, the best number 10 in the league. And if you guys haven't seen the stream from yesterday, again, they're in chapters. I suggest you go and watch that, because whoever's telling you that Bruno is a is the best number 10 in Europe, you'll find out very quickly that that's a complete lie. And as I said, if you get a chance, go and watch the stream from yesterday. It's in chapters where I talk about Bruno with Fitz, and it'll let you guys know. But again, Bruno was non-existent. Yet again, resorting back to what he does, giving the ball away. And Clockender says, how did Bruno get on? FPL ain't great. Yeah, listen, no assist today. You know, I think I counted probably one chance that he created, which I wouldn't say it's a proper chance. It's more of a half chance, and that was the Zirkzee header. But again, when the game's tight, you know, there was a couple of good plays from Bruno. You know, a couple of 1-2s he was doing. But when you need him in the final third to make something happen, you know, it was an overhit pass. He was getting pressed. You know, I think if you watch the one where Callum Wilson went on that run, it was Bruno losing the ball in that area. You know, because once he gets pressed, he hasn't got the awareness around him, you know, to protect the ball in that sense. He's better facing the goal. Again, yeah, another game where he flattered to deceive, really. But again, it's not on Bruno for me. I'm not gonna come on here and just start criticizing Bruno for no reason. But you know, obviously he was quiet today. I thought Lissandro was very good. You know, I'm not a massive fan of Lissandro, but I thought he was very good today. He was the best defender for us today. Again, Luke Shaw, you know, had a tough game against Bowen. Bowen's very good, as I said. And I thought Bowen gave him problems, and that resulted in the mistake from Luke Shaw. Harry Maguire, before he came off, I thought was decent. You know, wasn't really troubled that much. I think Castellanos, who played up there for West Ham, you know, he was someone that was a physical presence as well. But I thought Harry Maguire was decent. Dallo was given a tough time by Crescencio Somerville, and again, Somerville was one of the players, yeah, that if we are looking at Premier League players as left wingers to go and look at, Iliman NDI for me should be the top target if we're looking at Premier League players. And I wouldn't put Somerville far behind, because I think Somerville in a better team, in a more dominant team, you know, I think he could go up a level, you know. And again, this is a player that was at Leeds as well before he got the move to West Ham. Obviously, got player of the season, I believe, in the Championship. You know, Casemiro and Kobbie, I thought they found it quite tough in there. You know, I thought they done well, but I think the midfield of Matthias Fernandes, I think Souček and was it Freddie Potts or something his name was, that was in there as well. Yeah, they were in there giving them a bit of a tough game. But again, these guys do produce the quality, and the goal that was disallowed was a moment of brilliance from both of them, you know. And then Cunha's a weird one for me. And guys, keep your questions and comments coming through. Make sure you smash the like button. I will definitely get back to your comments and questions once I've gone through the whole team. Cunha's a weird one for me, because you know what I'm gonna say about Cunha. Cunha has got the quality, but for me, I don't think Cunha fits in with this team, because he is in a weird way, yeah, Cunha hasn't really got a place in this team. And that isn't because Cunha isn't good enough. It's because of what's there already and what else has come in as well. Because there's no doubt in that, you know, the majority of fans are looking at the likes of Mbeumo as someone that will get more goals than Cunha. So when you've got someone like Cunha where he can't really be the maverick that you know he can be, because as I keep saying, Bruno Fernandes is in the team, and as long as he's there, you know, the team's been set up in a way for so long that the play automatically goes through Bruno. So as someone like a Cunha, he can't really find his place. And then when you've got Mbeumo that does get goals as well, it's like he's like the middleman, Cunha. And this is why I'm trying to say to you, like, he doesn't really have a place in this team at the moment. I truly believe he's only gonna come to the fore, Cunha, when Bruno goes. Because I'm looking at Cunha as taking the mantle of, you know, the majority of the play he goes through. And this is where I think he might come good. But he's gonna have up and down games for me, Cunha. And the fact that he came off, I don't really agree with it, because Mbeumo definitely should have come off before him. And you can see Cunha's face; he's just a bit disillusioned with what's going on. Like again, he's gonna be happy because the team have been winning. He's been contributing as well, but you can tell he weren't happy when he came off, you know. And then Ahmad. I mean, not one of Ahmad's great games, to be honest with you. And I think switching Ahmad to the left, it was a case of just getting balls into the box because Sesko and Zirkzee both come on. And I actually feel a bit sorry for Ahmad, because Ahmad's been used all over the place. You know, he's been playing, you know, wing back under Amarim. He's now playing out wide under Carrick. Then Carrick switches him to the left for obviously obvious reasons, to get crosses into the box. And as I said to you guys before, for me, Ahmad is a natural number 10, you know, and he's played so much of his career out wide. You know, I wouldn't even blame people that think he's actually a wide player now. But for me, I need to see Ahmad more involved in the game, because there's too many times where Ahmad's just, you know, he's doing too much leg work, you know, and not really involving the play as much, you know. And as I said, man, he's a top player, but, you know, he's going to have these kind of games, unfortunately, you know. And yeah, it's annoying. Leny Yoro, when he come on, Leny Yoro was very good, you know. And if it wasn't for Leny Yoro, you know, that game would have been out of sight, really, for United. And I think that game there, this game against West Ham, I think the team actually owe Leny Yoro a pat on the back, man, because Leny Yoro made a couple of good defensive interceptions and tackles, yeah? And in the end, United get the goal and end up getting a point, you know, and that could be a crucial point come the end of the season. And a lot of that is going to be owed to Leny Yoro, because Leny Yoro was very good when he came on for Harry Maguire. Obviously, we talked about Sesko already. Great quality, great goal. You know, and that goal is just a touch of brilliance, you know. Not many players can score a goal like that. You know, you look at a lot of the taller strikers, and again, you know, it's actually funny, yeah? If I'm right in saying, isn't Sesko's idol Ibrahimovic, Zlatan, yeah? That's the kind of goal that Zlatan would score. So again, I believe Sesko, if anyone knows in the chat, I think I'm right. Sesko's idol is Zlatan. So again, that was a touch of Zlatan about him, you know, and great finish. Zirkzee couldn't really get into the game. And again, when you're coming off the bench and you haven't really played too often, getting into the tempo of a game like that when you're playing away from home isn't easy, you know what I mean? So I'm not really going to judge Zirkzee on that, because for me, Zirkzee just needs to be given more game time. I want to see him get some starts, you know, and then see how he does. But we can't really judge him off of, you know, a game like that where he's come off the bench, and it's hard to make an impact in games like that, you know, because let's face it, Sesko was poor when he came on, but obviously did produce that bit of quality, you know, that drew the game. So yeah, I want to see Sesko get more Sesko and Zirkzee get more game time. And again, the next game Man United have, I'm not sure who they're playing, but I personally think he has to change things, Carrick. I think the fact that, you know, they've drawn the game, you know, you can't really be saying play the same team, because we've won every game. So I think definitely he's going to change things. You know, whether he brings in Sesko or Zirkzee from the start and rests Mbuemo or whoever, you know, but I definitely do think he's going to have to change things up for next game. And again, if anyone in the chat knows who the next game is, then let me know. I'm going to go through some of the chats, guys. Big up yourselves. Make sure you smash the likes. Make sure you sub into the channel. And make sure you share the channel as well. Stratford M podcast says, Ahmad was so poor. The thing is, I don't think Ahmad was the worst player on the pitch. But he wasn't the Ahmad that, you know, we're used to seeing. He wasn't, you know, if I'm giving him a rating, I'd probably give him an average rating, you know, which, you know, Ahmad's a lot better than that. But again, Ahmad for me, he does produce quality, but sometimes the fact that I'm saying about Ahmad, yeah, that it's hard to see him have a place in his team at this moment in time. It's the same thing what I'm saying with Cunha. You know, I think these players will thrive when there's certain players that are probably moved on at the end of the season. But yeah, Ahmad wasn't great tonight, man. But as I said, there's no point getting onto Ahmad because Ahmad has more better games than he has poor games, you know. And I think tonight was just one of them games where, you know, a lot of the stuff that he was trying wasn't really coming off, you know. But as I said, this season, Ahmad's been very good for us, even though a lot of the games he's been playing as a wing-back, you know. But against Arsenal, against Man City, you know, he was very good. So, yeah, let's just see what happens next game, man. But big up. That dude didn't get a haircut. Yeah, listen, he's going to have to be waiting a long while now, man. I think he might as well just leave it for next season, if I'm honest. So, yeah, crazy, man. Let's see. Gav, we still, even after 7 managers, have the mentality to beat smaller sides, or don't have the mentality to beat smaller sides, which give us the money. We're still mentally unaware to win. We just give up. I disagree with that, man. I disagree with that because, you know, I personally think the fact that we come back and got the draw, you know, I think it's testament to how this team are under Carrick. Because I believe under Amorim, I believe we lose that game being 1-0 down. And again, if you look at the game against Arsenal as well, we fought to go and win that game. The game against Fulham, we done the same thing. You know what I mean? So, as I said, yeah, I wouldn't say we gave up. I think we still kept going to the end. And we also could have nicked it at the end as well when Ahmad ran through and tried to square the ball to Sesko, you know. So, again, I definitely do think there's a mentality shift, you know, under Carrick. I just think there's a couple of concerns for me personally with Carrick because, you know, for me, it's a case where, for me, I'd make subs earlier. You know, that first half was so poor. You know, you make subs in the second half. You know, but I think he waited until, I believe, the 60th minute to make the change. You know, I'd have made them quicker. And also, you know, he's got to take off Mbuemo when Mbuemo's not playing well. He's got to do the same to Bruno Fernandes as well because we've got a massive squad, and the thing is, we've got quality as well, and it's not a case where we just have to just keep playing the same old players like the previous managers done when we've got a lot of quality in depth. You know, so I'd like to see Carrick make them changes earlier and take off a few players that that keep playing consistently, whether it's under previous managers from before or even now. You know, i.e. Carrick, i.e. Bruno Fernandes, i.e. Mbuemo. So they're a couple of concerns. But as I said, next game, I want to see what he does because he can't possibly go for the same lineup again. You know, I wouldn't like that personally. So, yeah, let's see what he does. But the mentality to beat the weaker sides, I think it's early. I mean, as I say, Carrick's won 4 in a row, you know, so it's one game against West Ham and at the bottom. You know, I can't remember who we're playing next, but if that happens again, then yeah, it'll be a bit of a problem. But yeah, let's just look at it in this way. We weren't great, but we managed to get a point, man, and we just keep it moving. Big up to Dara Les says, absolute joke, Gav. Are you okay anyway? You know what? I'm not happy really, but I think the Sesko finish, man, just put me in better spirits because that was a great goal, man. As I said, man, Zlatan Ibrahimovic finish, and the fact that he managed to, divert that into the goal from that angle, you know, it just goes to show you, man, that's the kind of quality that Sesko's got. As I said, he was someone that I wasn't really up for the club signing, but since Carrick's come in, he's got a winner and he's got an equaliser, off the bench. So whether that's gonna be his role from now on off the bench, I don't know, but he's definitely making an impact when he's coming off the bench, man. So yeah, big up, man, to Sesko, man. That's a great finish. Casemiro ain't even tall like Sesko, but his headers are good. Definitely needs to be studied, like you said. Yeah, listen, I think when you look at players like Casemiro, yeah, even if you look at players in the past that weren't particularly tall. If anyone remembers a player called Tim Cahill, formerly of Everton, you know, Tim Cahill wasn't the biggest, just like Casemiro, yeah, but it's about the timing, the timing of the run, timing of the jump. And Casemiro consistently gets his head on top onto the ball. Like it's no fluke. Whenever the ball goes into the box and Casemiro's there, you expect him to win the ball. Like he's that good in the air, and it's a massive weapon that Man United have. And as I said, Casemiro's leaving at the end of the season, but I'm just hoping, there's some sort of turnaround where the club and his agent and the player come together and we can kind of keep him for another season. Because I believe if we can try and keep him for another season with his leadership, that's going to be good for the players coming in for me. But yeah, what a player, man. And the goal was unlucky, man. It was a great ball from Kobbie. That is what you call an assist, where, the player, Casemiro, hasn't got to break his stride. He just runs in, heads it in. That is what you call a proper assist, But yeah, he got disallowed, but it is what it is. Big up to Exedra. Big up, man. Big up. Let's see this. Big up Fitz says, tonight just confirmed Carrick's inexperience for me. Nothing he can do will make me want him long term now. You know what, Fitz, bro? I hear it, man. I do hear it. I don't want to crash it on Carrick, man, because I think when you're winning 4 games in a row and the teams that you've beaten, Man City, Arsenal, Fulham and Tottenham as well in there, it's difficult for me to come on here and start saying, yeah, we need to not give Carrick the job. For me personally, if we're not gonna go and get a Luis Enrique, I like Xavi because of the way his teams play as well. But could you say Xavi might be a bit of a Carrick? I don't know. But a lot of it's going to depend for me on who we're actually targeting. If we're going to get a Zidane or a Luis Enrique, then for me, they have to come in ahead of Carrick for me. But as I said, I just hope Carrick learns quickly in a sense of, taking players, because when we're chasing the game like we are, yeah, the likes of Mbeumo, yeah, and again, I know Mbeumo got the assist, but he's not going to pick up the ball from deep and start creating. He's someone that will toss the ball into the box or he'll get on the end of things, you know what I mean? So that's the problem I had with Carrick by keeping him on, and as I said, I'm not going to say, yeah, he got the assist, so that's why Carrick was right, because it could have been Ahmad that put the ball in. But it happened to be Mbeumo, and as I said, I think I look at the top managers, yeah, the Peps, even back in the day, Mourinho's, the Klopps, the Ancelottis, all these top managers. I believe if they're managing that game with United in the first half, yeah, they make changes straight away second half, maybe even in the first half. And that's a sign of a top manager or a top coach, because for me, that first half was where we kind of didn't win the game, because I thought we could have put West Ham under pressure, and the fact that they come out with the same team and then we go 1-0 down, and then he changes it. I understand the inexperienced talk, because yeah, for me it was poor. You know what I mean? But let's see next game, see if he's learned anything. Because again, if he doesn't win the next game, this is when all the questions are gonna be there. But yeah, it is concerning, man, that we didn't win that game. And I hear it, man. If you think it's his inexperience, I do hear it. Just proves to me that Kobbie isn't all that. To be fair, Gav, he needs to wake up. He was terrible. Again, everyone free to their opinion, but I mean, the Kobbie Mainoo, I would say, criticism or revisionism now is nonsense to me. I mean, just because the team don't win, and Kobbie doesn't have his greatest game, doesn't mean to say now all of a sudden Kobbie's overrated or he's no good. Like, Kobbie's a top player, man. He's a top player. If you just watch what Kobbie does when he's on the ball, the kind of composure he has for someone so young is quite rare. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not of the opinion that Kobbie's no good. Like, whoever says that is just either has an agenda for me, or it depends what you're looking from Kobbie, because Kobbie's a top player for me. So yeah, everyone free to their opinion, but that's not an opinion that I share, because Kobbie's a top player, man. And the more he plays, the more confident he's going to get. And I believe next season, you're going to get an even better Kobbie Mainoo, because Kobbie's playing catch up in a sense, because he hasn't been playing because of when Amarim was just leaving him to rot on the bench. And obviously, you can see how highly Carrick rates him. Carrick's come straight back in, and playing him, more or less 90 minutes every game. So, yeah, let's just see, man. I really big up to Foxy. Danny says, I really thought Man U would have won this game. What could have Carrick done differently? So, yeah, I think we touched on it already. For me, it was the early substitutions, at halftime. I thought definitely Zirkzee should have come on to pin back the defence. Because they again, when you're playing up against a low block, Man United don't really have players of that level that can just, break the lines, whether it's through a killer pass or from just, a pure technician of a dribbler, in that sense, like a Neymar in a sense. Because these guys like Messi, Neymar, these guys can break low blocks with their quality. We've got someone like Ahmad who has that kind of quality, but he's not the level of a Neymar or Messi. And then Cunha's game's a bit scatty. Bruno can't do that. And Mbeumo can't do that. So if you're not going to have players like that, you then need to have a number 9 that can kind of pin the defence back and hold the ball. And if you're going to play Mbeumo just wants to get in behind for a goal. And you can tell that West Ham were nullifying that. And there was no space to play in there either. So that's the difference I would have done. I would have definitely brought on a Zirkzee. And again, people might say, well, why not Sesko? Again, Zirkzee can hold the ball up. He can pin defenders back with his strength and his touch. And that's what we needed, to try and bring players into the game. But as I said, I want to see what Carrick does next game, because if he plays the same kind of team in the next game, then yeah, it will show me that he's not really adapting or learning. But it's early days, man. We can't really be getting onto Carrick after 5 games. You know what I mean? Because he's done a very good job with how he's set the team up. Big up to Clock Enders says, players have bad games. You lot need to chill. Yeah, listen, I agree. It's not about getting onto players, man, because, not every player is going to have a great game. But, it's one of them things. We could have done a lot better, man. It's not an overreaction. Experienced managers identify issues in the game and change things immediately. Carrick took too long with certain changes, and it's not the first time I've noticed it either. Yeah, Fitz, I agree. I agree. And as I said, I don't really want to talk about Carrick because Carrick's won 4 games, in it. But this is one of the concerns, and this is what top managers do or top coaches. They identify when something's going wrong and change it immediately. And as I said, if he would have made a change at half time, I would have said, you know what, this Carrick guy, he understands. But he took too long to make the change, and then he's making the changes after we go 1 goal down, trying to chase the game. These are the problems. But yeah, man, it's annoying. Let's see. Right, so we got Everton away next game. Well, Everton just got beat by Bournemouth. And again, man, I mean, we lost to Everton at home against 10 men. So I know obviously Amarim's no longer here, but yeah, man, we got to try and rewrite that, man, because it won't be easy going away to Everton. And the fact that Everton have just lost, they're gonna want to try and bounce back. And I think their injury record's decent as well. I think they've only got 1 injury to Jack Grealish, who's out for the season. So yeah, man, we need to try and definitely go there, man, and impose ourselves and win that game. Because I think the fact that Chelsea drew as well, they conceded. I mean, that's poor. I mean, they were 2-0 up. They drew 2-2 to Leeds. I think we're a point ahead of them. But now what that does is that gives Liverpool a chance now to kind of claw back some points. Because I think if Liverpool beats Sunderland tomorrow, then it's 2 points. So that's why it's frustrating as well, because we could have really and truly put Liverpool out of sight. But yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? Let's see this. So Van Gaal got results but was labelled boring. What was it for him? Results are half of it at United. Yeah, listen, you guys know my thoughts anyway on Louis Van Gaal, man. Louis Van Gaal should never have been sacked in the first place, because if Louis Van Gaal was never sacked, I truly don't believe we would have been without a title for 10 years. I think we would have won a title at least before then. Because what Louis Van Gaal was building at Man United with no money really to spend, I don't think people give him credit for that, because he was definitely building something, and the fan base just got, and obviously the club as well, they just got impatient because Mourinho was available. But he should never have been sacked for me. No way should he have been sacked. But yeah, man, it's a joke, man. It's a joke. But we got to move on now, man. Let's see what happens next season, and for the Gav, it should have been 4-1. Leny was the only one who defended. I agree. I agree. Leny Yoro has also saved us a point, because Leny Yoro come on for Harry Maguire, and he was instrumental in us not really getting blown away, because he made a couple of good tackles, a couple of interceptions, and then you look at obviously Sesko scoring the goal. It owes a lot to Sesko for the finish, but it also owes a lot to Leny Yoro, because Leny Yoro was very good. And I'm not sure if Maguire's injured or not, but I think if Maguire's injured, then Yoro has to start. But yeah, man. Obviously the lick's out as well, man, which is frustrating. But yeah, who knows, man. Big up to TM Elaine. Big up. Yeah, listen, that guy's not getting a haircut for a while, man. He might as well just get like a little ponytail or something, man, because yeah, that was the chance, man. It's not gonna happen now. So yeah, it's mad. Gav, we struggled so much against the low block. We needed to start Sesko and just spam crosses. Again, yeah, the low block is a problem, but it wasn't for me. It's not about spamming crosses. And as again, I've already mentioned it earlier. Yeah, we needed to get someone on, and I know the easy one is to say Sesko, but for me, it would have been Zirkzee, because Zirkzee is very good at pinning defenders back and holding the ball up. And you could clearly see, yeah, that's what we needed in the first half. And the frustrating thing for me is that, you know, I would have much preferred to see. Oh yeah, and Chelsea messed up my accumulator as well, man. Pissed by drawing the game to Leeds. But yeah, what I would say is that we needed someone to just pin the defenders back and hold the ball up. And then the fact that Carrick didn't change it, is, yeah, is just is annoying. But the spamming of the balls that come in the second half, which is why Sesko obviously more or less got his goal from just putting balls in the box. But the first half should have been a case of you know, us trying to build up the play in the final third by pinning them back. But if you're gonna pin a team back, you need someone that can hold the ball, and you can clearly see that's what was lacking. And I think what's frustrating for me is that Carrick's playing the same team because they've won 4 games in a row, and you can't really blame him for that because Anaday, like, he's won 4 games, so he's only gonna do what he's gonna do really because they've won. But it kind of showed tonight, really, that might have backfired against him because, as I said, I know Mbeumo got the assist, but he was poor. So again, man, yeah, it's frustrating, man. But big up to YF anyway. Yeah, Kobbie was good tonight. I'm not quite sure why Kobbie's getting criticism. I'm not quite sure why that's happening, but again, I think a lot of these things are just based on agendas, really, you know, because I don't understand how Kobbie, why is Kobbie being singled out for criticism? I don't understand it. You know, I don't rate Bruno Fernandes. I don't rate a lot of the players at Man United, but I'm not going to single out Bruno because it's, you know what I mean? I don't need to. You know what I mean? I don't need to. But yeah, I'm not sure why Kobbie's being singled out, to be honest with you, man. It's crazy. Yeah, big up, man. Big up. West Ham will be fine, man. Mate, keep the faith. Well, let's hope so, man. Let's hope so. I'd start both Sesko and Zirkzee. Yeah, I hear it. But this is the thing, Ramo, yeah? I will start both of them. But that means if you're gonna start both Sesko and Zirkzee, you know where I'm gonna go with this. If you do that, that means he's got to drop Bruno Fernandes, which should happen. But I'm bored of this whole Bruno Fernandes debate now because it's like, you know, I've seen this for 7 years. The guy just plays every game and other players miss out because of him. And it's like, it's the same old shit, man. I'm bored of it. So again, if you want to play Sesko and Zirkzee together, that means, yeah, you're either going to play with 2 players that put the ball in the box, which means that you really can't play with Cunha. Yeah. So that will mean if you want to play Sesko and Zirkzee and pump balls into the box, you're more or less going to play with Ahmad and probably Mbeumo just putting balls into the box, which personally I don't want to see, if I'm honest. So, but yeah, I mean, Zirkzee in the 10, Sesko in the 9, you could do. I hear it. But we know that's not going to happen because, as I said to you, man, this Bruno Fernandes thing is just annoying. And he's going to keep playing, unfortunately, until end of the season we move him on. Yeah, 1-1 isn't bad, but it shouldn't have been 1-1. We should have won the game, man. You know, that's the mentality we need to be having. That's the mentality we should be having. Felt Bruno was average today. Saved by Sesko banger. But this is the thing, yeah. Bruno Fernandes plays average most games. But as I keep telling you guys, when you're watching these games, I'd advise you to not listen to any of the commentators because these guys are doing PR for Bruno Fernandes, i.e. Ali McCoist. He does the most for Bruno Fernandes. Because if you check today, yeah, when Bruno does something well, he overhypes it. And if Bruno gives the ball away, he's trying. This is what these people are doing. But Bruno plays average most games, but he always ends up getting GA probably. And this is what people don't really care about the game no more. They just care about using someone like Bruno Fernandes in debates with other people. Like it's gone away from people actually watching the game properly. That's the problem. So he's averaged most games, and today it wasn't masked up by GA. So this is what he does, unfortunately. And again, it's been going on for years, man. I'm bored of it. I'm actually bored of it. As I said, if you guys watch the stream from yesterday with myself and Fitz, you'll go to the section where I talk about Bruno Fernandes, and you'll see why these people that keep telling you that he's the best 10 in Europe and in the league, it's a lie. And I can prove to you why it's a lie. So is what it is, So yeah, man, frustrating, guys, frustrating. But on the other hand, I thought West Ham, I thought Jarrod Bowen, Crescencio, Somerville, I thought they were very good. I thought they were two of West Ham's best players. I thought their defence, I think Disasi's made a big difference to them because he's quite aggressive. He's got pace, he's got strength, and playing him means that you can either play a slightly higher line or you can play slightly deeper, because obviously he's quite aggressive and he can win balls in the air as well. And as I said, man, I think West Ham for me deserve to get something from the game, But I put it down to us because we should have really put them out of sight in that first half. And the fact that he never made that change is annoying. But we were saved by Sesko's quality, man. That's what we can be positive about. But I mean, certain games call to do something different, like playing Ben as focal point centre forward. Yeah, but again, you can play Sesko as a focal point. You can play Zirkzee. Yeah, I do hear it. But if you think that Sesko and Zirkzee are going to play together, that's not going to happen from the start because it's going to mean dropping certain players. Because if you're going to play two players like that who are strikers, that means you're not going to play with a number 10, really. And then it means you might play with players that are just going to just put balls into the box. So, yeah, it's a long shot for me, really. It's an agenda to make people believe we are in the best generation of the game. It's all smoke and mirrors. Again, 100%, man. And the commentators and the media, they play a big part in that as well. They play a massive part in that. Funny, to be honest with you. So yeah, man, it's frustrating. But I thought Matthias Fernandes is a very good player for West Ham. He was someone that we should have looked at as well before he went there from Southampton, because I saw a lot of Southampton's games last season, and he was arguably one of their best players. But he wasn't as good as he has been, but he was still decent. I thought Souček's finish was very good. That's a very difficult finish to do. But I thought he had a good. I didn't think he was great. Again, his quality isn't really there, but the goal was very good. And as I said, man, his goal was very good. And I look at the Freddie Potts who played in there. I mean, he just kept it ticking over. I think he was in there to break up play and just keep it moving. Castellanos, as I said, wasn't really in the game as much. I thought Martinez and he provided a bit of a different threat for them. Was running in behind. There's one part where he went through on goal, and I think he was lucky he was offside, but it was a poor finish really. But maybe he done that because he knew he was offside. And then, as I said, Bowen and Somerville, they caused problems all night. And as I said, for me, they're two very good players. And if West Ham were to go down, I'll be very surprised if they hang on to them two, because those two are definitely Premier League players. You know what I mean? Definitely Jarrod Bowen because Jarrod Bowen's a top player, man. And but I think Jarrod Bowen's what is he in his 30s now? You know, so maybe he might stay with West Ham if they go down. You know, or maybe someone might take a chance on him. But I think the fact that he's 30, you know, might go against him. I don't know. You know, but he's a good player, man. Jarrod Bowen. He was causing Luke Shaw problems all night. All night, you know. So yeah, it's mad. It's mad. But guys, tell me what you thought of the game tonight in general. Tell me if you thought there was, you know, any outstanding performances from either side. You know, obviously got the games tomorrow as well. Obviously the games tonight, as I said, Bournemouth beating Everton 2-1. You know, I'd add that down as a draw, a score draw. But yeah, obviously they got beat. I think Brentford have won their not Brentford. Bournemouth have won their last 2 games, I believe, as well. So they've kind of shot up that table a little bit. You know, Chelsea being 2-0 up, man, and as I said, drawing 2-2 is poor. And again, I think Rossini won all of his Premier League games, and to be fair, to be 2-0 up at home and then draw 2-2, yeah, that is poor. That is poor. Who else played? Who else was playing? So yeah, Bournemouth, Everton, Chelsea, Leeds. I swear there's one more game. Obviously United, West Ham. I swear there was another game. Can't remember. But predictions for Spurs Newcastle. Oh my god, yeah. I'll forget. Spurs Newcastle. Boy, Newcastle 2-1, guys. I mean, Thomas Frank. Boy. Put it this way, yeah. I wouldn't even be surprised if we wake up tomorrow morning and Thomas Frank's been sacked. You've heard it here first. I wouldn't be surprised if we wake up tomorrow morning and they've sacked Thomas Frank. You know, because I mean they're in a relegation battle, because if Forest win tomorrow against Wolves, they're now on joint points. So yeah, man, they're boy, I don't know what to say, man. I know they've got injuries and stuff like that, but yeah, man, they're in trouble, man, big time. And again, it's a much needed win for Newcastle because, you know, Eddie Howe's been under pressure as well. And yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say. It's mad. It's mad. But yeah, games. So predictions for next game, Gav. So games tomorrow. Guys, if anyone's got the games tomorrow, put that in the chat, and we'll go through the games. My predictions tomorrow. Obviously, City Fulham. I think City beat Fulham. I think we said it yesterday actually, but I'm gonna say City to beat Fulham 2-0 at home. Palace Burnley. I'm gonna go for a home win. I think Palace beat Burnley. I'm gonna go 2-0 Palace at home to beat Burnley. Forest Wolves. That would be an exciting game. Well, I say exciting, but it's gonna be a tough game. I'm gonna go for a score draw. You know, a score draw. I'm gonna go for a score draw tomorrow. Forest and Wolves. I don't know why, but I think I can see one of them games. Wolves just get something from the game. I don't know why, but Forest need to win. But it wouldn't surprise you, man, if it's a score draw. Villa Brighton. Villa win that for me. I think Villa will win that, and they have to win. I'm gonna say Villa win that 2-1. I'm gonna say, or 1-0. But I definitely do think they win. And then Sunderland Liverpool, man, I'm gonna go for a score draw. You know, 1-1, 2-2 draw, I believe. Because I think, as we know, Sunderland at home, man, they're a difficult team. So yeah, I think Sunderland win that. I think I can see a draw happening. I think Liverpool are gonna wanna you know, win the game, get some points on the board, because after what happened against Man City, you know, Szoboszlai is a big miss for them because he's been arguably their player of the season so far. But I think that, yeah, I think they might pick up a draw tomorrow. Who knows, man? You know, if they get a win, then fair enough. But I think Sunderland at home are very difficult, man, as what we've seen so far this season. Yeah, City Fulham, I'm going to say 2-0. I think 2-0 to City. I think City win that 2-0. You know, I think whatever happens, City will win that game, because I think City have probably clicked on now that, yeah, it's time to fix up and, you know, go and win this league. And I think that's what they'll do, man, if I'm honest. So, yeah, I think that's going to happen. But guys, anyone got any more questions or comments for me before we wrap it up? What you thinking for Everton away? Big up, Fitz. It's a tough one, you know. The reason why I'm in two minds here is because I think if he changes his team, I say we go there and win. I mean, we'll just see Bournemouth beat them, you know, and Bournemouth haven't been in great form. So I'm saying if he changes the team up, I think we win the game. But I just don't know if he starts more or less the same sort of team, because I think it could be the same thing. You know, Everton at home, you know, they've already beaten us this season already. So I just hope Carrick changes the team up. So and based on what I think Carrick might do, I think he will change the team. I'm gonna say Man United to win that 2-1. Yeah, 2-1. But a lot of it's gonna be depending on what team he plays for me, you know. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, man, it's not good, man. It wasn't a great result, man. But we keep it moving, man, because as I say, Carrick's been doing a good job. But his next game against Everton, you know, I think if we don't win that game, you know, I think you're gonna see more people starting to say, yeah, Carrick's not the guy for the job. You know, that's how things are, innit? You know, I'm not gonna say that yet. I want to see him try and change things, and then we can go from there, innit? So yeah. But guys, big up yourselves. I'm gonna wrap it up anyway. Big up to everyone coming through. Big up to all the mods each and every time. And as I say, big up to the newcomers coming on and giving me your questions and comments. And as I said, disappointing result. You know, great finish from Benjamin Sesko, but yeah, we should have got the 3 points. But we'll have to wait and see what happens next game. See if Carrick has learned anything from this game. And I'm looking at Carrick as an intelligent footballer that he was. I definitely do think he would have learned from this game, and you know, probably trying to tweak a couple of things. But as I said, there are a few concerns that I'm seeing, you know, and yeah, it is what it is. Liverpool 1, Man City 2. Get in, mate. Yeah, listen, man. Obviously we're Man United on here, but listen, City winning that game was good for me, really, because listen, these Arsenal fans, they know who they are. These guys talk too much. So yeah, listen. The fact that City won that game, they play Fulham tomorrow. I expect them to win that game. It could be down to three. It'll be down to 3 points, and this is what I'm trying to tell you, because there's a lot of people that would have thought that, you know, City would have dropped points against Liverpool. At one point, it looked like 9 points ahead for Arsenal. All of a sudden, it could be 3. And I did predict that as well. I said City will go to Liverpool and win. They'll beat Fulham before Arsenal play Brentford. And it's down to 3 points. And I'm going to say this now. Brentford beat Arsenal. I can see Brentford beating Arsenal at home. And then all of a sudden, you know, it's problems for that fan base there. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But guys, big up yourselves for coming on. As I said, check out all the other content. Smash the like on the way out. Make sure you sub to the channel if you're new in here as well, and make sure you share the channel. And as I said, I should be back. I'm not sure tomorrow, but if not tomorrow, possibly on Thursday. But as always, just keep an eye on my notifications to see when I go live. You know, because obviously I'm live most days anyway. But I don't have to promise things and then not deliver. So yeah, just keep an eye on my notifications to see when I go live. And yeah, obviously I'll catch you guys again. But yeah, as I said, man, disappointing night, but great finish from Sesko. And the positive is that under Carrick, we're still unbeaten after 5 games, but that guy can't go and get his haircut, unfortunately for him. So yeah, we'll have to just keep it moving, man, and just try and build up another run and see what happens. But Everton next game. So yeah, man, let's see what we do there. But big up yourselves for coming on. And as I said, guys, I'll catch you guys, if not tomorrow, Thursday. Take it easy.